Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Friday, October 3rd. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this would be a video for you. First off, a couple of quick clarifications. Number one, the markets are still open. So if you look there, you'll see that candlestick moving around. And like I said, that is because the market is still open. And I like to do these when the market's still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So ticker symbol number one, we were looking at DFLI. Very nice mover today and good solid pattern here as we head into Friday. So let's map out a couple of the key levels. And first area, what I would call the ideal level. If you say, Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute strongest moving forward? And that would be if the price could stay up here above this level. What is that breakup point? Right there at 92 cents. Now, don't get me wrong. If the price falls below 92, that doesn't mean the entire chart's destroyed or ruined or anything like that. But yeah, if the price could manage to stay above that area, that would certainly be a great sign of power. Taking a step back and looking at things from the bigger picture point of view, that is where the purple line comes into play, the 50-period simple moving average. Keyword being moving. So as time goes by, that line is going to move itself higher and higher, which is helpful because assuming you care about the big picture point of view, then from that overall vantage point, as long as the price is above that purple line, that means the price is building higher bases. And again, from the big picture point, that's what it's all about. You just want to see those higher lows being put into place. So keep an eye on that overarching trend line there. And then in terms of areas of resistance, no need for fancy logic. Just ask the question, where did the party finally stop today? And that was right up there at $1.13. So again, no fancy logic. That's just where the party stopped right there. So keep an eye on $1.13 headed into Friday. But all things considered, very, very nice move today. Next one here, RGTI. Beautiful pattern here. So let's get this drawn into play. So top part of the pattern, area of resistance right there. Bottom of the pattern, area of support right there. Let's change that to green to represent support. And then just to make the pattern easier to see, let's keep it all one color. So we have our area of resistance. We have our area of support. Have the nice upwards move right there. Put the golf hole down here, and this would be a bull pennant pattern. Now, let me be very clear. Just because something's in a bullish pattern does not mean for sure guaranteed if it comes up here and breaks, it's going to make a big move. But my point here is this. Is it at least a valid question to throw out there as a possibility? Absolutely. Again, not guaranteed to happen, but a more than possible plausible outcome. So if you like this price range, you like bull pennant patterns, then certainly keep an eye on RGTI. Next one here, ASBP, and same general idea here of what we just talked about with bring that on. There we go. With the bull pennant pattern. So I'm going to go through this quicker, though, because I want to respect your time as much as possible. And you've just heard me talk about this. So let's change that to green. And then just to make sure everybody does see the pattern. So it doesn't look the exact same, but overall the psychology is the same. So there's our resistance. There's our support. There's the upwards move right here. And there's a golf hole down here. So like I said, it doesn't look the exact same, but the psychology is the same. There's been a big move up. There's now some consolidation, and now it just turns into a question of can the price get the break to the upside. So I'd say the biggest difference here is this one just happens to be a penny stock. So if you prefer penny stocks, but you do like bull pennant patterns, then here you go. Next one, TSLL. This is a very tricky one to talk about because there's a lot of perspective that goes into it. What do I mean? Well, if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you want to call yourself, and you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell, within 2 minutes, well then yeah, from that standpoint, things are looking very, very bad because yes, from where the price was here to where it ultimately dropped down to, that is a very, very rough looking environment. But with that said, if you care about the bigger picture point of view, as I squeeze things down, you can see that overall, this thing is still very much so in an overall uptrend. And the easiest way to see that uptrend is just to watch that very famous 200-period simple moving average. And even if you have a basic understanding of charts, I'm sure you've heard of that level and you know that when the price is above it, then from the bigger picture trend standpoint, you still got to give credit to the bulls. Now, if the price were to come down here and blast down through there, okay, that's where the conversation begins to change. But as of now, the price is not only still above that pink line, it's really not even that close to testing it. But nonetheless, like I said, keep an eye on that level. But once again, I do fully understand that I sound crazy right now. If you're some sort of day trader that bought right there talking about that pink line. Again, I'm talking about the pink line relative to those people that have more of a bigger picture viewpoint. So yes, today, very, very rough day. In fact, you would call this a gap and trap. But keep keep in mind that word today, as in one day. Looking at multiple days as we're doing here, you can see the price is still overall in an uptrend. Next one here, ONDS. And once again, we're going to go to the pattern. And it's just one of these days where this pattern has shown up several different instances. So let's get a couple levels mapped out, change that to green for support. And I'm going through this very quickly because I want to respect your time, but let's just make sure everybody sees it. So there's our area of resistance. There's our area of support. There's the big upwards move right here. Here's the golf hole down here. So another quality bull pennant pattern. So we have a good variety. We have a penny stock bull pennant. We have this one kind of mid-price, right around $10 bull pennant. And then we had RGTI, which was more, I think, up around $35. So if you like bull pennants, you definitely have a whole lot of variety headed into Friday. Real quick, want to take a break and help you overcome a very common problem out there that maybe you're suffering, and that is to do with the pattern day trader rule. Meaning you'd like to be a you'd like to be a day trader, and day trader being defined as having unlimited day trades every day, but you can't because of that pattern day trader rule. Well, there is a way to go about everything that not only introduces you and gives you access to a way better market to trade anyways, because this market moves very nicely, but you also have very little money at risk. And again, no pattern day trader rule. Now, this may all sound a little too good to be true. Totally understand, but it's what I've been doing, and that's why I want to invite you to check out the live stream. Start every day at 11 a.m. Eastern, and then I go for a few hours so you can see all this with your very own eyes. Ask me any sort of questions, and you can just kind of get some clarity in how this all works. Because again, I understand it can sound, what's the catch? But like I said, come check it out on the live stream and ask me any questions. Next one here, looking at NVDA, and once again, higher highs and higher lows. So I'll go ahead and get rid of this level. And with our new update, that update just based on basic charting, when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So ideally speaking, now moving forward in terms of what would make this chart look the best, definitely the price can now stay above 187.30. But from the big picture standpoint, not the end of the world if the price drops below that level, because as I've talked about with some of these other charts, from the overarching standpoint, you still have the purple line right there with a nice upward slope. That 50 period set moving average down here, you still have the 200 period with that nice upward slope. So like I said, yes, if the price can stay above that green line, that'd be very, very impressive. But from the overarching standpoint, the price still has plenty of wiggle room to stay above both those moving averages. Therefore, the overall trend is still plenty in the bull's favor. As far as areas of resistance are concerned, key battleground to watch moving forward in my mind, right around that 190.50 mark. So keep an eye on that. But overall, it's kind of just like a broken record for NVIDIA right now, just higher highs and higher lows. Next one here, we have TLRY. Talked about this one recently, and you can see the price ultimately came down today after a very crazy opening 30 minutes. Price shot all the way up there, had a little bit of a fake break above that area, and then after that, the price just dropped back downwards, and it actually also broke down below that trend line right there. So we'll go ahead and get rid of this level here. And really, the price also broke down below the purple line, which you know is the 50 period moving average. Now, does that mean it's the end of the world? It doesn't, but the chart isn't looking nearly as good as it could have had the price been able to stay above that area. But again, just because the price is broken below a couple of these areas, assuming you care about the big picture point of view, everything is still fine. So again, if you're a day trader, scalper, and you bought right there and wanted to buy and sell within 10 minutes, yes, from that angle, chart looks really, really bad. But all these kind of bullish, positive comments are coming from the reference point of somebody that cares more so about the big picture point of view. So just keep that in mind. So in terms of areas of resistance in the very near term now, keep an eye on that purple line right there, 50 period moving average, valued at $1.68. And if the price can push up through there, then it just goes back to that $1.85 mark, which has been very stubborn now, not once, but twice, with rejecting the price back down. In terms of key areas of support moving forward, next key level to watch if this pullback does continue, right there around the $1.54 mark. And if the $1.54 can't quite hold up, that's where things start to get, again, I'm not going to say the chart's ruined, but things get a little bit more sketchy at that point. But also, we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, because as of now, the price hasn't even tested $1.54, let alone broken below it. Next one, TSHA, absolute monster move today, and we have some key levels here to watch. In fact, the price might actually be pushing through it. It's knocking on the door right here at $4.90. Yeah, actually, as I speak, that's why I like to do these when the market's still open. You can see the price is actually pushing its head slightly above that area. So moving into Friday, we get to ask ourselves a very interesting question. Is this the start of something even bigger? Now think about that question. It makes no sense to ask the question if nothing worthwhile, if nothing exciting is even happening. But that's not the case here. Something worthwhile is happening, right? It's breaking out. Now, to be fair, maybe it's not. Maybe this thing just rolls right back over. But again, to be fair, that's a two-sided coin. Maybe this is the start of something way bigger, and this thing's about to get rock and rolling once again. So yes, very exciting question to be able to ask. Is this the start of something bigger? So keep an eye on that dynamic right there. If the price does pull back, then key area of support from more so an overarching standpoint, right there around $4.32. But yes, knocking on the door. Is this the start of something bigger? Is there another round of upside momentum breakout to come? We'll see what happens. Next one here, INTC, and this thing is just remaining in a beast mode, and I think the quickest way to kind of gauge this is that trend line right there. Now, let me be very clear. That is certainly a trend line where the price can actually stay above it. That would be super, super impressive because this thing's got a pretty aggressive upward slope to it. So again, preferably speaking, if the price can manage to somehow stay above that area, that would be very, very impressive. If it doesn't, then as I've talked about in some of these other charts, by no means the end of the world, but that first and next level you'd want to watch is that purple line, which you know is that 50-period moving average and will move itself higher and higher. In terms of areas of resistance moving forward, very straightforward logic right now, just asking the question, where did the party finally stop today? And it finally stopped right there at 37.55, but the good news is the price has not closed very far below it, so that doesn't mean that it necessarily will break through it on Friday. But also, I don't think a very gutsy call to say and suggest that the price could push above there, given that the price isn't that far away from potentially doing battle with it once again. But anyway, look at it. Past couple days have been very, very impressive for the bulls. Next one here, TSLA Tesla. Rough day today, especially for any day traders that bought the gap up right here, because we did indeed get the gap and trap. So yes, shorter term traders, day traders, scalpers, anybody that, bought there, maybe bought the dip right here or bought the dip right there or bought the dip right there. All those people, not so good of a day as this thing has dropped, and even during the last 30 minutes here as I speak, is pushing down to new lows. So moving it into Friday, no guarantees, but I think it's a more than valid situation to throw out there that maybe, just maybe, is the price heading down to test that pink line there at the 200-period moving average. Current value of that at 428, and we'll just call it 25 cents. Now, even if the price goes down there and breaks through it, still not the end of the world because, yes, Tesla is in a massive uptrend right now. But preferably speaking, assuming you care about the grand scheme of things, you'd certainly ideally like to see the price stay above that pink line if it continues to fall to the downside. With any sort of attempted bounces back upwards, initial area of resistance to watch is going to be that purple line there. 50-period moving average right now valid at 446.33. You can actually see right there, it's already behaved as a resistance a couple of times. So yes, assuming that you weren't somebody that bought right there, then overall the chart's still perfectly fine. But yeah, if you were somebody that bought right there, hopefully you're using a stop loss. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you're sick and tired of that pattern day trend rule, or maybe you just want a more exciting market, maybe you just want a situation where things move and they move very big, and I know that can seem crazy, because sure, things do move big in small caps and low floats and penny stocks, but I'm telling you, the market that I've been trading and the market that you can get access to with no pattern day trend rule moves even better. Again, I realize that sounds crazy, but that's why I've invited you to check out the live stream. Come see it with your very own eyes and ask me any sort of questions that you may have. So thanks for watching and hanging out. Make sure you hit that like button, and hopefully I'll see you on the live stream.